There's something old fishermen in the southern United States used to do before every outing, and they never told anyone outside the area. They'd arrive at the riverbank before dawn, before the fog even lifted over the Mississippi. Open a product you probably have stored in your garage right now, give the bait a quick spritz, and leave with a full cooler while everyone else waited. This product cost less than $3. You can buy it at any convenience store or supermarket. And the manufacturers of synthetic attractants, of premium products that cost $50, $80 a package, make sure you never find out it exists. I'm going to tell you everything now. If this is your first time here, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any secrets the industry tries to hide. Let me tell you what happened in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, on a Saturday in October 2019. Two groups went out to the same stretch of river at the same time, with the same equipment, the same bait, in the same water and light conditions. One group consisted of two older brothers, sons of a Mississippi fisherman, raised learning what their father taught them from a young age. The other group was 5 young men, well-equipped, with boxes full of expensive tackle. Before casting their first lure, the two brothers opened a can of WD-40 and sprayed the lures. Nothing more than that. No commercial attractant, no special lure, no technology. Just that quick, silent spray that the young men barely noticed. First hour, the two brothers caught 11 bass. The 5 young men with high-level equipment, 3. By noon, the older men had 28 fish in their cooler. The young men with everything the store sold, 5. Same water, same time, same spot. The only difference was their quick spray of WD-40. When the young men asked about the secret, the oldest brother gave a short laugh. "That's old people stuff," he said. "My father's been using it since the 70s. Now it's our problem." This story was told to me by Earl, 67 years old, a bass fisherman from Tennessee, whom I met at a tournament in Nashville. He looked at me with that face of someone who's giving up something that should never leave the circle. "In the 70s and 80s, he said quietly, almost every experienced fisherman in the South had a can of WD-40 in their tackle box. We didn't call it a trick. It was just what worked." I did some research after that conversation. I talked to old fishermen from Louisiana, Tennessee, Texas, and Florida. Each one had the same version. Grandfather used it, father used it, they all used it, until a generation came along that traded knowledge for off-the-shelf products and lost everything along the way. Do you know how many of these traditional fishermen depended on stores to get results? None. They had the knowledge, and that knowledge was worth more than any product in colorful packaging. But before I show you exactly how it works, I need to tell you something. This WD-40 method is just one piece of knowledge that traditional American fishermen possessed, and that the industry buried with marketing. I've compiled it all in the book High-Level Fishing, The Water Game. There you will find Reading Fresh and Salt Water in Practice, how to quickly identify productive zones without relying on expensive equipment. Structure, where the fish really are. Never waste time in dead spots again. Current, tide, and water flow. The invisible engine that controls every fishing trip. Positioning and angle of attack. This is what determines the outcome more than any lure. Fish behavior patterns. How to predict where they will be before you get there. Real-time decision-making. Stop relying on luck and start making logical decisions. The mindset of a high-level fisherman. The difference that no equipment can buy. No beating around the bush. Straight to the point. The link is in the description. Now, come back here. The secret of the old fisherman was WD-40. That blue and yellow spray, the same one you use to lubricate rusty hinges and loosen stuck screws. It sounds absurd, I know. But listen to what the ancients knew long before any laboratory tried to explain it. In the 1970s, a catfish fisherman named Homer Davis from inland Mississippi had been spraying WD-40 on his dough baits for years before any fishing store started selling commercial bait. Every catch yielded results that others at the fishing spot couldn't explain. In Texas, cowboys fishing along the banks of local rivers did the same to their metal lures before casting. In South Florida, the old men of the mangrove swamps applied the product to their jigs before every outing without telling anyone why. And throughout Cajun Louisiana, this was the secret that fathers whispered to their eldest sons. Not the second, not their friends. The eldest. That's how the knowledge survived from generation to generation, result after result, generation after generation. No off-the-shelf product, no $60 imported incentive, until the industry grows, creates a billion-dollar market, and buries that knowledge with pretty packaging and promises of miracles. Now I'm going to explain why it works and why you need to understand the science before using it. Fish have an olfactory system that is unparalleled in the aquatic world. A largemouth bass can detect a single amino acid molecule diluted in 10 billion water molecules. To give you a concrete idea of what that means, it's like smelling a grilled hamburger from across an entire city. The fish's sense of smell is not only sensitive. In murky water, low light, or dense vegetation like the mangroves of Florida and Louisiana, it is their primary hunting system. The original WD-40 formula, created in 1953 by the Rocket Chemical Company in San Diego, circulated for decades with the theory that it contained fish oil among its components. The company denies that the current formula has this ingredient, but that's not the central point. What matters is the chemistry that occurs when the product comes into contact with water. WD-40 contains short-chain petroleum distillates and organic compounds that, upon contact with water, release specific ester and hydrocarbon molecules. These compounds partially mimic the chemical trail left by injured or dead prey in the water. When a smaller fish is injured or dies, it releases similar compounds. A predator's nervous system, whether a bass, a catfish, or a walleye, interprets this signal as accessible prey. It's a biological trigger that existed long before any store-bought product was invented. There's another factor that nobody in the industry talks about. WD-40 masks the human scent on the bait. When you hold the bait in your hand, you deposit cortisol, sweat, and organic compounds that fish recognize as a threat. Bass in clear water, trout in streams, cautious fish that hunt in clean water, detect this trail and disappear. WD-40 covers this chemical signature. It's like erasing your scent before you cast. Trout fishermen in the rivers of Colorado and Wyoming were curious why certain old men almost never returned empty-handed. This scent coating was part of the secret. And there's the mechanical factor, too. WD-40 is a light lubricant. In artificial lures, spinner baits, jigs, crankbaits, it reduces friction with the water. The lure moves more fluidly, more naturally. It feels like live prey. Predators react to the movement even before detecting the smell. You're attacking two sensory systems at the same time: the sense of smell and the lateral line, which detects vibration and water displacement. It's a combination that the industry spends fortunes trying to imitate in the lab and sells for $50 a bottle. Researchers at Auburn University conducted tests with different chemical compounds in controlled tanks with catfish. The fish responded significantly faster to baits, with traces of light petroleum compounds compared to untreated baits. It wasn't a definitive test on WD-40 specifically, but it confirmed that the category of compounds present in the product has real potential to attract bottom-dwelling fish. The ancients knew this without needing any laboratory. Now, the step-by-step instructions. How I do it in practice. You will need 1 can of WD-40, any size. The pocket-sized version works very well. Your bait, whether artificial or natural. An absorbent cloth or paper towel. A small, airtight container, if you want to prepare it in advance. Step 1. A short, direct spray onto the bait. Do not soak it. A light spray is enough to cover the surface with what you need. Step 2. Spread with your fingers or a cloth. A thin layer without the product dripping. If you are using soft plastic, worm, creature bait, or craw, let the product sit for about 30 seconds before casting. The material absorbs better with this time. Step 3. When using dough baits or processed natural baits, such as blood bait or stink bait for catfish, mix a light spray directly into the dough before shaping. Half a spray for every 100 grams will visibly change the fish's response. Step 4. Reapply every 3 or 4 uses. The water dilutes the product over time, and in fast-flowing rivers, like the Tennessee River or the Mississippi, the effect fades faster. In lakes and ponds with still water, the effect lasts longer between applications. The ideal consistency after application is when the bait has a slightly oily sheen but isn't dripping. If it's dripping, you've used too much. Wipe it off with a cloth and reapply more lightly. Treated bait stored in a sealed container in the refrigerator will keep well for up to 24 hours. In the freezer, treated dough bait maintains its effectiveness for up to 3 weeks without any loss. Now, if you want to go even further, the old folks in the South combined WD-40 with other elements that boosted the results. Garlic powder. A pinch along with WD-40 amplifies the olfactory appeal, especially for catfish and carp. The garlic releases sulfurous compounds that act as a feeding lure for bottom-dwelling fish. In Louisiana, Cajuns, this was a standard family recipe. Star anise powder. Widely used by old southern fishermen in the 60s and 70s, mainly for bass. It combines well with soft plastics. The scent of anise mimics compounds that certain natural prey release when stressed, creating an opportunity signal that the predator does not ignore. Processed sardines or anchovies. For catfish in still water or slow-moving rivers, mixing WD-40 with sardine paste creates a combination that covers both smell and taste. The response of bottom-dwelling fish to this combination is almost immediate in warm water. With these additions, you cover 3 of the fish's sensory systems: smell with WD-40 and garlic, taste with sardine protein, and lateral line with movement improved by the lubricant. All this for less than $8. And you probably already have most of these ingredients at home now. Now you might be wondering, if it works like this, why doesn't anyone in the stores teach this? The answer is simple. The fishing tackle industry in the United States generates over $2.5 billion a year. Part of that money goes to real research. But a huge portion goes to marketing products that try to imitate what simple and inexpensive compounds already do. They put technical names, laboratory logos, packaging with scientific language, and charge $35, $50, $80 for a product that tries to replicate what a $3 bottle of WD-40 already does by instinct for ancient peoples. If every fisherman knew this, the shelves would be full of unsold product. That's why nobody teaches you. It's against their business. When using it at a fishing spot, some details make a real difference. During dawn and dusk, the first 30 minutes after sunrise and the last 30 before sunset, predators are in active mode. Their metabolism is accelerated, and their hunting instinct is calibrated. At these times, the combination of chemical attractant and natural movement has the greatest impact. That's when I prioritize using the technique. In cold water, below 55 degrees, the compounds in WD-40 dissolve more slowly. This is positive. The effect lasts longer per application. In hot water, above 75 degrees, dissolution is faster, and you need to reapply more frequently. For largemouth and smallmouth bass, apply directly to soft plastics, crankbaits, and spinnerbaits. These fish hunt by sight and lateral line first. WD-40 enhances both visual brightness and movement pattern. For catfish and carp, it works best with dough baits and natural baits. The compounds carry further down the current, creating a trail that brings fish in from distances you wouldn't expect. For trout, in clear water streams, Colorado, Montana, Wyoming, the ability to mask human scent is the key benefit. Trout in clean, shallow water are extremely sensitive to human scent on the bait. A light spray before any contact can completely change the outcome of the day. Avoid over-applying in areas with active spawning. Use judiciously. The goal is to attract, not saturate the water. And remember, this WD-40 trick is just the tip of the iceberg of what traditional American fishermen knew and what the industry spent decades trying to bury. It's all in the book High-Level Fishing, The Water Game. Reading the water, structure, current, fish behavior, positioning, mindset. The link is in the first pinned comment and in the description. It's the knowledge they tried to erase, now in your hands. Think about your next fishing trip. While the others arrive with boxes full of imported products, $40 lures, soft plastics with proprietary formulas, lab-made packaging, you open that blue and yellow bottle that's been in the garage drawer. In an hour, you're pulling in fish after fish. They'll look at your cooler and won't understand what happened. You'll have to decide whether to tell them the secret or keep this advantage to yourself. The industry wants you to believe that good fishing is expensive, but a $3 can of WD-40 does what a $50 product promises. The old men of Mississippi knew. The Cajuns of Louisiana knew. The fishermen of Tennessee knew. Now you know too. What will change on your next fishing trip? Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next video.